Music, that's good. You know this. Oh, okay. Mm. You can get free music on the internet for stuff like this.
Get rolling. All right. Welcome back, shooters. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Sorry that we didn't do our show on our normal Saturday night, but here we are, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, so it's still the weekend. We'll have to enjoy what few hours we have left, but we're very fortunate to be joined by what I like to say is one of the leaders of the youth movement here in America in regards to team handball, Martin Bilello. Martin, how are we doing
Thank you.
today? I hope we didn't interrupt your dinner.
Good. No, no, no. We didn't have dinner yet. I'm actually from Argentina. We are used to having dinner very late, so
Okay,
it's all fine. And thank you guys for having me.
of course, of
I I,
course.
I watch the show every time I can.
Hey, if we can get regular viewers on the show, I think that's definitely a must-have. So you're one of our probably most watched. I know we don't have a lot of followers, but I know you often reflect on what's going on. And Mike from Alberta was actually another guy that regularly watches the show, which is cool. It's cool to have people that follow. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Joey, how we doing today?
I'm doing great. And Martin, it's funny to hear you say that because we were talking before, but my mom's from Argentina as well, and we
Oh,
tend to eat dinner around 9 o'clock.
yeah.
So it's good to know that she's not just making that up.
No, no, no.
It's an actual Argentinian thing. But yeah, JD, I'm doing
Yeah.
great. How about yourself, my friend?
I'm very tired, so if I fall asleep or just start rambling, you just make sure to like cut me off because I didn't get a lot of sleep this weekend. We were doing a roofing project at a uh, summer camp, so it was a lot of work.
Is
Um,
that slang for something?
nope, just straight roofing. Ripping shingles off and putting new roof on. So pretty
JD,
straightforward.
I cannot see your video on the
Um,
Zoom.
that was one thing I probably should have mentioned. Because of our
Okay.
utilization of OBS, if you want to see my face as well as the rest of the stream, you gotta tune into Twitch because Zoom does not allow me to show you
Yeah.
my face when I'm using the video elsewhere. So just one of the nuances that we have to juggle. Which another nuance that we want to let our viewers know that at the 40-minute mark, we will have to restart our Zoom meeting because Zoom only allows us for 40
Commercial
minutes.
break.
Yeah, so we'll do a nice
Yeah.
little
You need
commercial
to
break.
get you need to get one of those plaques that say technical problems. We'll be right back.
Yeah, if I'm quick enough, I can probably muster something up here on the show while we're doing this
Okay.
live. So, for those of you that are new, as always, topics are down below. Martin's got a whole slew of fun stuff for us to talk about today. So I'm gonna dish the rock over to Joey to get us rolling.
Martin,
Yeah.
great to see you.
Good
Like
to see you
JD
again.
said, you are the godfather of youth handball in the entire United States, but primarily you're based out of the wonderful city by the bay, San Francisco. Can you just tell us like how you got started in handball, how you ended up in San Francisco? Just give us your life history.
Yeah, sure. It's a long one. I'm 42, so it's gonna take a while, but I try to make it short. So I started playing handball when I was 9, 10, 11 years old in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, in the suburbs of Buenos Aires, not in the city itself. And I played for several clubs there. Those clubs don't exist anymore, but there's another one in that same city. I mean, that town that I'm from is called Moreno. It always had handball teams. They always run really high. We won championships like 3 or 4 years out of the six that we competed. And but then, like usually happens over there, when I started to go to college and had to start working, I had to abandon handball. And for several years, I didn't do anything with handball. But then, when I moved to the US in 2008, I got reconnected with the club over there, the Houston Firehawks. I was part of that club. and then I started a club at a community college there at Houston Community College. And then after a few years, I got the opportunity to move to California to work for Electronic Arts. And so I had to abandon Houston. Yeah.
It's in the game.
There are some games here. And then I started playing for Cal Heat when I moved here. I went to a nationals in Reno. I think it was 2013. And then I had to leave Handball for a bit to straighten out my immigration situation. And then once that was solved, then I came back to Cal Heat and went full steam on everything. That's when I started with helping the coaching on the women's team. Got introduced as a member of the board of Cal Heat, and started our youth program, our youth outreach to the schools and the PE teachers and everything like that. In all that span, I was a player. I coach kids in Argentina. I coach kids here. I coach adults in Argentina. I coach adults here. I referee here. I created clubs. I created leagues and everything in between.
Sweet, that's awesome. And so, what year did you start working on like the youth stuff for Cal Heat?
So I tried to study back in Houston, but so I didn't have that much time, and the reception from the schools there was a little more harsh or not open, but I didn't have time to actually put the work into it. And when I came here, I basically started with reaching out to the schools and trying to teach the PE teachers about the sport so they can start teaching at their classes. And one thing that happened here in California is that handball is part of the curriculum. And I know it's the same in other states as well. So there are schools where kids are playing handball in their PE classes. In middle school, in high school, my kids actually had handball as a unit in PE as well. So, but there are teachers that don't know about the sport, so they don't know how to teach it. And so we started reaching out to schools, and that's how we started getting in contact with the schools. And we put information on our website, on the Facebook page. And I want to reiterate that's very important to put the word out there that you're doing this and that you are open to people, to helping people that wants to know about handball. And because of that, we received an email from a school that wanted to start a league with other schools. And we were really quick in responding, and that's how we started the league here. But that took us like a year and a half to get to that point. Yeah.
So during that year and a half, you were just reaching out to gym teachers primarily to make sure that during their gym classes they were teaching the sport correctly. You weren't necessarily trying to start like school clubs at that point. It was mainly helping with the instruction of the sport for the school. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, because basically we didn't know exactly how to go about it. So the thing that we knew for sure is that PE teachers will be teaching sports to the kids. So we were trying to reach to the teachers. And then once we got in contact with teachers, we started talking to them and trying to find the different ways that we can actually get into having competitive handball at the schools. And what we found out doing that is that there's a difference between how sports are in high schools or to how they are in middle schools. So in high schools, everything is more regulated, and you need to be like a recognized sport to have funding and to have support from the school and the school districts and the state federation as well. So, but in middle school, everything is very much open. Each district, each school does their own thing. Some schools have the community, the city, and the park recreation, the parks and recreation department running leagues for the kids in middle school. Or sometimes they have the parents like forming a booster club on the schools and running their own leagues. Or sometimes the teachers just get together and arrange games between the schools. So it was easier to get into the middle schools that way. Especially for me, it was easier to get into my kids' middle school and start a team. This is the one I'm wearing right now. I don't know if you can see, but Castillero Handball.
Castillero.
Nice.
That's from the middle school that my kids went to. We started the team there 3 years ago already, and we did the same with different middle schools. But the first one, the high school that contacted us to start the league, was actually a private school, which is at that time, and I think still is, the easiest way to get into the schools, because private schools have a lot of less red tape. They are quicker to make decisions, and they don't depend on anybody else to make a decision. And if it's a small private school, they don't have that many sports programs. So if you go with something already set, if you go to a small private school that is looking to create more activities for the students, and you tell them, okay, we have a league, we're gonna teach you how to coach handball, and then you participate with us, and you have everything set up. And it's easier to get schools like that join the league.
As
So
Joey and I are both prep school boys, I think that
Okay.
we can definitely agree with that being a good pathway.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joey, you were going to say something. I just.
Oh no, yeah, no, and yeah, definitely. That's super cool. It seems like with those schools, especially if you have a kid at a school or like you have some kind of connection, like
Right.
they're more conducive to something kind of neat like handball. But so the school that reached out to you, they wanted to basically do like an intramural league like within the school, or they wanted to like set up a team so that they could play other private schools.
Right. So they were a small private school, and they were having a league on different other sports with another small private schools in the area, and they wanted to add handball to that. So it was kind of a ready-made for us to go in and start a league. But we were ready to do that. That's the other thing. You may have the opportunity where somebody asks you to do that, but you struggle to find how to do it or the people to help you. We were in a month or in 2 months, we had everything set up for them, and we started the league, and it was a success the first year.
What was the key to being ready for that?
Just because, like I said, we were for a year and a half reaching out, and it was a club like Al Hit that has a lot of people already, people ready to support something like this and give their time to do this. So the support that they need was, okay, we organized like a clinic at the beginning of the year, like a Saturday afternoon. That was in September, so it was the beginning of our season as well. We set up a 3 hour, I think, clinic with everybody, with all the kids from the school. So we taught the kids the basic drills. We taught the coaches how to coach the kids. We ran like scrimmages between them so they know how a game unfolds and what the different situations are on the games. And then we gave them a few books, I think, and we get them resources to go find the goals, where to find the goals, and where to find the balls. And then we let them go and start their practices. We set up the schedule for them, and every time they had a game, we will send a referee, which was somebody from the club. And so they have that first year they didn't have that many games, but the few that they could have, it was up to coaches, actually, to the coaches of the clubs to set up the games. So some teams got more games than others. But at the end, in November, we set up like a tournament for one full day at our facility in Fremont. And then we brought the 4 teams that were competing, and we have like a full tournament, like a round robin tournament with everybody. And we get them a trophy, medals, and everything. And we set up a website for them to have all the information. So maybe if you look back at it, it was just for school. They didn't have full rosters, and it was all set up really quick. But it was the kickoff for what we are right now, where we have like 12 teams competing with full rosters, where we had to actually keep kids out because we don't have enough room for everybody to play. And we have medals and live stream and website and everything.
Jeez. So how many kids total are there playing?
So if you go by an average of 12 kids per team, you have 12 teams. That's almost 150 kids.
Craziness.
Goodness gracious.
I got one question here. So, Martin, it probably helps with you being a parent of a student at the school.
Yeah.
What do you think about somebody like myself who, bearded, kind of weird, creepy looking dude driving a white minivan, how do you think that would pan out? Because that's my struggle, is that I don't give off a good vibe, and I don't have a kid in the system to play like, oh, this dude has a minivan because, well, clearly he has like 5 kids. No, this dude has a minivan so he can haul handball equipment around. So that's kind of I feel like, I don't know if there's any advice you would give for people like Joey and myself who have been trying to do that exact task that you guys were able to succeed with, but we don't have
Hold on,
kids.
are you calling me creepy?
No, I'm just saying like,
You're not creepy, JD.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend you to go to the school straight out with the van and try and start talking with the kids, but you can actually try to contact by phone or email with a good-looking email, good-looking signature, saying you're part of the board of USA Team Handball, for example. And from there, try to make contact with the principal or the athletic director or some teachers that they can refer you to somebody else. I mean, you just need to keep trying.
Yeah.
Like I say, people now will say, "Oh, look at what San Francisco is doing," but we started with this like 4 years ago.
Yep.
It wasn't an overnight thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've emailed every gym teacher, athletic director, athletic secretary, and head coaches and assistant coaches for almost all of the key, I would say, easy transition handball sports for every high school in Central Ohio. So it's a pretty long list. It's over a couple hundred people. So we'll see. That's only a recent development, so we'll see how that plans out. With everything going on in the state of the world right now, it might not be great. But
right now it might not be a good time. But just a piece of advice: these people are really busy. They get a lot of emails.
Yep.
And so the key thing for you to do is to follow up. If they don't answer, most of the time it's not because they don't want to answer. It's just they forget that you sent that email. So just follow up like a week after, 2 weeks after, until they actually tell you, no, we're not interested.
All right, that's the motivation I need. So
yeah, and the other thing is that when we actually started with the clubs in the schools, we wanted to expand it to the same school district, to more schools in the school district. So we got to do a little talk when they do the training for all the PE teachers at the beginning of the school year. And we had like a half an hour to talk to everybody. We were on a shim, and there were like 100 teachers there looking at what we were talking about. And we were offering them, look, we have these 4 teams that are competing already. You have 2 schools here in the district already competing. You just need to start a team at your school, and you can have competition ready to go. It's really easy. It's a really good sport. They can get international track and everything. Out of those 100, 120, 1 person got interested and replied to us.
It only takes one, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that it's gonna take you to contact a lot of people to get the 1 or 2 that are actually gonna be interested. So don't lose hope.
Oh, trust me, Joey and I got plenty of that. So, so that's definitely a plus on our end.
That's encouraging, Martin. That's encouraging.
Well, I hope it is.
So another question I had in regards to a lot of this is that the other individual, I would say, in the U.S. that is on your level of diehard handball efforts towards the youth is Craig wrote in Chicago. Do you and Craig, besides being on the WhatsApp conversation about youth development in the U.S., do you guys have any separate kind of initiatives that the two of you guys bounce ideas back and forth? Since I would say your guys' 2 efforts have been probably the more strong and prosperous out of any of the other efforts in the U.S.
Well, I mean, he has been doing it for longer than me.
Yes.
So he has more experience and more reach. And he's one of the inspirations for what I started. Like Mike in Alberta and him over there in Chicago are the 2 guys that I look up to when we started over here. So for sure, whatever he's doing, and I think it's a good idea, I'm going to try to copy. And I told him that a lot of times. So, but what is also good is that for me, he's like a competition. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do it better than him. He's gonna try to do the same the other way. So I think that's really good.
I think Joey and I have our own competition as well. So
It's good though.
Yeah,
because at the end of
exactly.
the day,
It is.
it keeps you motivated, and it's something to measure yourself against, and we're all in good fun. I mean, it's not like he can, like I'm not like trying to get guys from Central Ohio, and JD's not trying to get guys from Detroit, and same with Chicago and San Francisco.
The US is huge. There's space for everybody.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool.
true.
Joe, you got any more questions on Martin and the Cal Heat youth program at all? I'm sure we'll get into a lot more, but just while we're rambling on it.
Well, before I forget this, I just want to ask, and this has nothing to do with youth right now, but Martin, Boca Juniors, like one of the probably most famous Argentine soccer clubs, just started a handball club. What are your thoughts on that?
As usual, they're late to the party. I think River Plate has been first in everything. So we'll see what they can do, but they had to buy their way in like they usually do. So we'll see. They have like
River
support
Plate
from
has
the
a club?
River Plate has one of the main clubs in Argentina for handball and for many, many other sports, and has been a champion several times. So yeah. We've been there a lot earlier than them.
Fair enough. I'm like, by virtue of the fact that I have to have a favorite of those two, my favorite's Boca, but I know nothing except for Maradona played for them, and their arena's sweet. That's about it. And now they have handball. Well, that's cool. I didn't realize River Plate had a club. It's awesome. Yeah. What's the handball landscape throughout Argentina? Is it a big sport, or is it just sort of a niche sport?
So in Argentina, you have soccer, and then everybody else. Like the second, there's still some struggle in the second sport in Argentina. A lot of people say it's like car racing. And then you're going to have like maybe basketball, volleyball, tennis, and handball is nowadays maybe trying to get into that third or fourth tier there in Argentina. But for example, this famous coach from Argentina, Daddy Gallardo, he's the general manager in River Plate. So that should give you some idea of how big River is. But it's very big in Buenos Aires, like everything else in Argentina. There's a lot of people playing there, and now it's starting to grow in the rest of the country as well. But it's been there since the 70s or even earlier than that. But the league there has been developing since a lot of years. And right now, like the main region, which is the Buenos Aires and the suburbs of Buenos Aires, which is called Femeval. Now they have, for the adult level, they have seven men's divisions and like 7 or 8 on the women's side. So there's a ton of people playing there.
What do they do differently than the U.S. in Argentina? What's the difference? Is it just better organized?
Location.
Yeah. So first of all, you have a lot of people concentrating in a small space, but other than that, is they have over there the club system like you do in Europe. It's not like here with the schools, and they have support from the government as well. So the kind of system that we have over there is the opposite of whatever the US does usually. So that is a big thing, a big difference that you find over there. So it's easier to do things because you get support from the government to do that. And then the clubs and the organizations are already there to take advantage of that.
Martin, when I spent a week in Paraguay with the junior team, I spent a lot of time talking with the Argentine coaches, and Eric Gohl was one of the coaches.
He was there.
So I spent a lot of time talking with him, and he told me that the way they have it set up in Argentina is that the players on the junior basically program on that pathway, like the national team pathway, they will train 3 days a week with their club and then 2 days a week with the national team. So they all play for a club in the Buenos Aires area, and then that way they can train with the national team while they're also training with their own club. So I feel like that's a really cool system. But it's one of those, FYI, we got 10 minutes before our commercial break. But it's one of those things that, it goes back to geographical breakdown, and the U.S. is very, very spread out, and it's tough. And that's kind of, you guys have like I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel like Cal Heat has a nice setup here because, the youth program, besides Craig's players, you guys are able to send a fair number. Is that an accurate statement? Because of all the youth play that goes on? Is that a fair assessment?
Well, but I think what we're trying to do here is what every city should be doing, try to create more and more clubs in one region so you can have that competition close by. You don't need to be traveling or anything like that. And the other thing that I think is important, that was one of our pillars, and I don't want to start something really long now because we're going to cut, but what usually happens with Americans that come to the clubs that are already established with a lot of expats is that they get frustrated really quickly because they come to a sport that they think they're going to dominate pretty easy, and then they realize they're not going to do it so fast. And they get frustrated, and then they leave. And so what happened with getting all these kids started all at once at the same time is they're all bad at the same time. And they all get better at the same time. So they don't get that frustration, and they actually can enjoy playing the game. So what's going to happen is that whenever you start something like this, the kids are not going to be good. And the coaches are probably not going to be good, but they're not going to be good all together.
Right.
So they're going to get all together better at the same time, progressively. And so after a few years, you're going to start seeing results. But you need patience for that. If people want results right away, it's not going to happen.
Shooters, I just want you to know that we did not pay Martin to give us that statement because I'm very much in agreement with all of what he just said. So, because there's a lot of beef right now about to increase the number of clubs in a geographical region. There's a lot of, I don't think you're on that email chain, Martin, but there's a lot of conversations going around about that. It's been interesting to watch it unfold. Sorry, Joey, go ahead.
No, hey, I was just going to echo what you said, basically. But yeah, I mean, especially recently, me and JD have brought it up a few times, and John Ryan as well, when I was chatting with him. It makes sense. And because for San Francisco, and I don't know, like, everything out west to me, like, the geography is all mixed up in my head. I don't know how far anything is from anything. But
everything is far away from everything.
Yeah. So like for me, theoretically, we could have a home game in Detroit and get some people to come watch, right? Like we could have Columbus come for one match on a Saturday, whereas for you guys, it's difficult to get a team to fly out to San Francisco just for a handful of games, So it makes sense to start more clubs that you guys can kind of play against and have these, ongoing competitions with.
Right. If I'm guessing correctly, I think the problem is going to be how you push for that. Because the proposal that I've heard so far is that, you need to force the club to split or stuff like that. And I'm not in agreement with that. We can get into that if you want when we come back. But I think what you need to do is not to restrict, is to actually incentivize the behavior.
Okay. Yeah.
Big time.
I agree. We've talked. I know John Ryan's a big fan of the carrot stick model. So I think I don't disagree with him either. I think that's something that'll help really spur some growth. Speaking of growth and speaking of the youth program, since you've now had that up and running for about 4 years, we should have some turnover and some kids going to colleges. What would you say is the typical college pathway for the kids in your guys' league? Do they go to like Cal? Do they go to Stanford? I don't know what a normal San Jose State. I'm not sure what a normal pathway. Pepperdine's too far south. I'm trying to think of like Northern California schools that kids would be going to. So I'm just curious what that pathway might look like.
Right. So I'm not very familiar with how the normal path is for kids to go to those schools that you mentioned. Like I will assume that going to Stanford, Cal is not that easy. And so, but going to San Jose State, for example, if you live in San Jose, you have an easier path if you want to go to that school. So far we haven't had any kids that play in our league go to those schools.
Okay.
The ones that I know were interested in handball when they're going to college, a couple of them are on the East Coast, and we refer them to Boston, to the Boston Club, I believe, because the school that they were going to didn't have teams. But then a few of them actually stay here in the Bay Area and go to community college or go to small schools here around the Bay Area. And we actually 2 years ago, we have our first Cal Heat adult player coming out of our youth league.
Cool.
And he played last nationals with us and on the second team. And that's like the example for everybody else that's coming after him. So we're happy with that. And we're trying to get more kids like that showing our adult team. But I mean, you know this because I asked you about it. I'm trying to create a connection between our kids and all the colleges that already have handball. And so I asked you and I asked a few others, like letters or flyers with information about your club, so we can actually distribute it to our kids that are juniors, so they can take that into consideration when they pick the schools. But the schools right now that have handball clubs are like Ohio Penn State, UNC. Virginia, so they're not like the easier schools to get to. Yeah, West Point too. But they're not like the easier schools to get to, from what I'm told. So the problem is not if they have handball or not. The problem
it's get the academic side. No,
right.
I understand. I'm just curious, because I feel like getting that feeder system set up, that if you guys, like, that's kind of what I have with Ohio State, is that their Armada is basically fueled entirely from Ohio State guys that graduate and stick around in the Columbus area. So we actually have a couple kids that are trying to start a team at community college here in Columbus as well, and that really helps grow the number of teams. And so if the individual you're talking about that's at the community college, if he can find some other guys or gals that are interested in playing to help, have them start coming to Cal Heat practice, and then they can start having their own practices. And to me, that's not splitting the club, that's growing the club to like Cal Heat C, or like the Cal Heat college team.
No, we actually at Cal Heat. So we already have a youth elite team,
right?
But we actually want to create a junior as well. Okay. But we just need more kids on that age bracket to form a team completely of kids of that.
It's coming.
The thing is that when we started, they were like on the first. They were like freshmen or sophomores, and so year by year, we're gonna get a lot more kids on the right ages to get to those.
It's coming. I have faith, because as strong as you guys have grown in a short amount of time, it'll only continue to prosper in the near future. So I'm excited to watch how that unfolds. We're approaching our intermission, so I think I'm just going to end the meeting and restart, so that we can get don't have to cut anybody off like the last 2 weeks, which has been kind of awkward. So I'm going to end it, folks. Stay tuned with us. Get go to the bathroom or whatever you need to do. Get a nice cold soda pop. So we'll see you here in just under a minute. All right. Thanks, everybody. Oh man, the struggles of technology. So if you guys are looking to follow Martin on social media or Cal Heat, I got their taglines posted there. So Cal Heat's very interactive on Instagram, Twitter, always posting new content, a lot of questionnaires, things like that, exciting videos. Martin's very involved, sharing a lot of the youth news that's going around. So I would highly recommend those two follows for all your social media efforts. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a good time. I know we want to give a shout out to our man Max. Max is an avid watch viewer of the show. I want to say thanks to Martin to coming on. Max also wants to say how disappointed he is that he's not seeing any of the normal staples of our show, which Max, we're working on coming up with new content. But Max, maybe one day when you come into the live studio, we can have you do a 5 ingredients what's for dinner segment. So in time. All right, folks, it looks like we got Martin and Joey back in, so I'm going to get them here and get their beautiful faces and get rid of my annoying radio voice. All right, here we go, and we're back. All right, welcome back, guys. Sorry for our little break there, but that's the power of Zoom. So we only get 40 minutes, so hopefully we can wrap up the second half of the show here in under 40. So you guys think we can do it?
Yeah, I don't know how many
I don't
topics
want
we
to.
cover, but I think it was just one.
We got
keep
like
talking
one and
all
a
night.
half.
Okay.
We'll do our best here. We can kind of move here pretty quick, but still focus on the key ingredients of the discussion. So, Martin, there's been a lot of news going around. I've seen on my Facebook, I was out of basically access to internet for the entirety of the weekend while I was roofing, so I did not really get a lot of time to read into this. But can you tell us a little bit about this World Sports Academy stuff that I'm seeing all over the place?
Oh, well, I didn't know you were seeing it all over the place.
I've every time I've opened any social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's been like World Sports Academy, Martin Bilello. I'm like, holy cow, Martin's coming on the show tonight. Geez Louise. So
yeah, I did it on purpose.
he knew that he knew.
Smart man.
No, I have that idea and actually created the company like a year and a half ago or something like that. So it just took me a lot of time to set it up and create the website and everything. But the idea is to actually get more coaches into handball, because what we've seen so far in trying to grow our league is that the schools are open to having teams. The kids, as soon as they start playing, they fall in love with the game. But we don't have coaches to coach all the teams that we can start. So and it's hard to find those people, especially to go and volunteer to do that, right? So the idea was we know, at least myself, I know how to create a program because I've done it a couple of times already. I know how to approach the schools because I've done it already, and I know how to integrate a new team to the league. So I'm just going to play the middleman. I'm going to try to get in contact with a lot of coaches that don't know anything about this, teach them how to teach handball, how to train handball, how to participate in our league, and then I'm going to reach out to the schools, give them all the materials to start the program, and give them the coach that I just trained. And so they're going to start their own program. They're going to manage it at the school, but I'm going to just play the middleman between them and try to get more teams to play in our league, because that's just going to grow the sport and the reach that we have in the community. That's the main thing. But other than that, just offer whatever services that we can to make handball more prominent in the community.
I think that the connecting is the hardest part. So I think that's a key piece of the puzzle. And my wife and I have talked about this a lot because she's from a small town here in Ohio, and she would play soccer. Well, they didn't have a women's soccer team, so she played on the men's team. And because soccer was relatively new for their area, which is crazy to think, in the 2000s that soccer's a new sport somewhere. Her mom, who had no soccer experience, was the coach for the men's team that her daughter was on. So it was a whole bunch of crazy conundrums there, but they made it work. They won some games. They had a good time and everybody enjoyed it. So I think, at least my experience with all my sports growing up through high school and through middle school is it was always some parent who had some, maybe they played in college of that game or something like that, they had a dedication to the sport, and they might not have any kids in the system, or they're really young, but they're willing to put in the time and effort to help out. And so you guys have, I would say, a much more eclectic area in San Francisco than here in Columbus or Detroit. So finding some other dedicated parents that might be able, or just dedicated individuals, you can probably find quite a few that have some handball experience, and B, just some parents that want to get involved. Their kids come home from school, they're like, hey, I love playing handball, like, Dad, you wanna get involved with this? And they'd be like, all right, why not? So I can see that definitely being a great tool to help connect those individuals and help us grow the sport. So I love it.
Yeah.
Martin, so basically the company is like training modules for coaches.
Well, we're not providing training models on the website itself, but right now what we're looking for is for people that is interested in getting like a part-time job to coach whatever sport they want, but we're gonna teach them to teach handball, and we're gonna put them in contact with the schools to teach handball. If they want to teach another sport, they can contact us the same, but we're still gonna try to push them into handball.
Is
any way we
it
can.
funded by the coaches? Do they pay like
No. The coaches are
subscription?
gonna get paid. The coaches are gonna get paid. That's the main thing for this, because, like I say, for volunteering it's really hard to find people. So the idea is that this is gonna be a job for them. But because we're gonna present the program to the schools and like every kid that participates in these sports, they pay a fee to participate on the sport. So the idea is that those fees are gonna go to either the school, or the school is gonna pay the fees to us, and then with that money we're gonna support the program, support the coach, and the training.
Cool.
Dang, that's
But this
amazing.
is gonna be the idea is that this is gonna be a show for the coaches.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I think the key that this helps add as well, which is a big point of our discussion with Mike from Alberto, is that it adds some legitimacy, that these coaches are basically being selected for different programs and there's payment, so that helps really kind of solidify what people are doing. So that's cool.
And that's something that's unique to the world of handball in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe 3 people in the United States that like are taking money from handball, like not from handball, like are being paid as a result of handball. And that's incredible that you're creating those like incentives to be fully invested in the sport as a semi-professional person. That's awesome.
No, but when we started here with the league, I mean, the first year we tried to make it as easy as possible to the schools, but after that, we just treat it like any other sports. On any other youth sports, the participants pay to play, and the leagues charge a fee. So we charge a fee for the tournament. We charge fees for sending the referees out there. And so it's not like we're doing everything for free, because we don't have the money to do it for free. So that's how we are able to actually cover the cost of everything that we do. And for example, when we do a clinic, or when we did a summer camp and a winter camp this past year, those are other ways that we can actually collect the funds to support the league and give out the materials and everything like that. So it's not like we're doing it for free, and we try not to do it. But once we collect funds with an activity, then we reuse it to support the new teams that are coming in. So it's easier for them to do the transition into studying the league, because and I went through that a couple of times. The first year is always the hardest. Once you get the first team going and you compete on the first league, the next year is going to be easier, and the following one is going to be even easier. I can tell you my experience with Castillero. I had to go and do a demonstration for 300 kids to see if they will approve the club. And so there was some interest, so they finally approved the club. We went to the school year when it started to get tryouts and see how many kids will show up. And we had 10 kids show up. One of them was my son, so 9 other kids. And that was the first year. A school with almost 500 or 600 kids, we had 10. And that was the first year. We actually competed. We lost a couple of kids in the middle, but we went to participate in our tournament with 9 kids at the end of it. But all those 9 kids that went to the tournament, they were back next year playing. And next year we had to cut a few guys. We had 15 on the team, and we had to cut a few guys because we had too many. And on the third year, which was this last one, we actually had 42 kids show up for tryouts. We had more kids than baseball had for tryouts. And we came out with 2 teams, thanks one of the parents that actually wanted to coach, or was willing to coach. I convinced him, and
Power of persuasion.
But we had to cut an entire other team because we didn't have a coach for them.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Wow.
So and that was the third year. So it is really hard on the first one, but once the ball gets rolling and the community gets to that, all the parents talk to the other parents, their friends, and everything. So and the kids will try to recruit their friends to come to the team. So once the ball gets rolling, everything gets easier.
So I guess my question with the recruitment side there is that would you say that it's a lot of kid to kid, or is it parent to parent, or is it kid to parent to kid kind of thing? Or how is the best way for you to grow those numbers like you did? I mean, you tripled, quadrupled in a 3-year span, which is awesome to see.
That was a good segue. I don't know if you
I know how I'm sneaky sometimes.
Okay. I think it's a lot of things, but the main thing is for you to build trust in the community. Once the parents and the kids see that you're there every day, every practice, you're earlier, every practice, you like the schedules that you tell them is going to happen. I remember the last tournament that we had with the kids, the main comment from the parents was that they were surprised that all the games were on time, that we never run late. And so it's little things like that that actually build trust in the community, and then the community help you out. Like the parents talk to the other parents, the kids want to bring their friends to play this game, and it's just a feedback loop that happens. But you need to build that trust. Like when you go to a school, if you're gonna go to a school and to a team and be there for 1 year, they're not gonna trust you.
Right.
But if you're there 3 years and you're telling them I'm gonna be here for the next 5 years, then they're gonna trust you. Mm-hmm. So once you do that, it's easier to build the teams and the recruitment.
Maybe I'll shave the beard or something when I go in there for in-person discussions, and then drive my wife's car, so it's a little less weird. But yeah, all right, I like that, because being organized is something that we get feedback a lot on our college tournaments. Is that parents, while the tournament's going on, I'm a man of many hats, so I got to be entertainer, got to be photographer, got to work the tables, got to referee, got to play. I got a coach, so I'll go talk with some of the parents sometimes while I'm taking pictures and just kind of ask them their thoughts. And that's definitely the key takeaway, is that they just like seeing it, that it's they don't know the rules, they don't know what's going on, but as long as it looks like it's moving smoothly and games start on time, people are playing respectfully and with a good understanding of what's going on. They pick up on some of the rules based on referee calls, but keeping things crisp is what the parents like to see, and that's they get behind that. And then you see the parents that they get that, and they're the reoccurring ones, the ones that are dedicated to come to all the games and things like that, because it's not easy, especially in college when you have to drive a couple hours if your kid's going to play for maybe 5 minutes. So it's very, very, very difficult, but cool.
Yeah,
cool.
You just need to show them that you care, and they see that.
Joe, you got any questions on the recruitment side there?
Well, you kind of answered it, but I was curious, of the attrition, how, you get kids for maybe a few weeks and then they quit, but it sounds like that's not a problem at all. So that's awesome.
Not in these last two years, but because the first year that we had the team, it was an intramural. It was classified as an intramural because it was like a trial year. So they could come and go as they wanted. But once we became a competitive club, then once they're in and we had tryouts, that means if you're not coming, you're taking somebody else's spot. So if you're going to come to the club and you're going to be on the tryouts, that means if you're in the team, you're going to be in the team for the entire season. So you're going to come to every practice, you're going to come to the games. You need to have a really good excuse for not to come.
This might be too much of a technical question, and you don't have to answer if you don't want. But when it comes to things like jerseys and gym time, I assume gym time is probably supplied by the school. You just got to coordinate with them because you guys have your season in the fall, correct?
Right, but we don't use the shim because there's no shim time. So what we
That's why
do
you
is
have the outdoor courts. Yes.
right,
Okay.
right, yeah, that's why. But also because of the size, you actually have a full
Full
size
size.
handball court. Yeah, so they have these blacktop areas. They are really common in the schools here, where they have three basketball courts side by side. So you can put a full handball court across.
Yep. Awesome.
So, and last year we actually got the school to pay for the painting of the permanent handball line. So now we
It's a
have
big
at
step.
Castillero, we have two full-size handball court painted on the blacktops.
It's great.
Nice.
It's progress, man. It's progress. But
And
yeah,
that was after 3 years of actually going with duct tape and taping the court every time the kids decide to rip it off.
I love it.
man.
So what size balls do you use, and where do you get them?
So we started with size 2 for the high school, and size 1 for the middle school. What happened is that actually, like boys in 8th grade should be using size 2 already, but because we have it all mixed up with girls and younger kids, we keep it with size 1. And then the same thing on high school. Like the boys on when they're junior, they should be playing with size 3 already, but because they're playing with younger guys and girls as well, then we keep it at 2. And it makes it easier. So you're in high school, you play size 2. You're in middle school, you play size 1.
Yeah, I like it.
And then we made the first seasons that we made a deal with Hamel. So we provide the Hamel contact for them to buy the balls. But then you can actually, if you go to Amazon, there are some places that you can find balls. There's this Handball shop online where you can find them. They get shipped to you. There's Molten now. I think that's what they want.
Buy 3, get 1 free.
Right. And now we have, like last year, Decathlon opened a store here. So you can, we were able to get some Torca balls from them. So there are several options now, I think, to find the balls. And then we are able to find the balls on Amazon as well, really cheap ones that are kind of sturdy that you can use outside, and they're really easy to transport as well.
Sweet.
Cool. So I'll try. I'm not going to do as clean of a segue here, but with California being a big time movie state, and a lot of discussion about The Last Dance, if we were to redo a movie where maybe the key focus or a key element of the storyline was handball, is there a movie that comes to mind, Martin and Joey, for you guys that you think could use a little dose of handball action?
Yeah, I think I have two.
Okay.
The first one is A League of Their Own, but maybe the time might not be the right one. Like I don't know, what's like the 40s, right? For that movie.
Sometime, maybe if not sooner. I think 40s is probably right. Yeah.
But the other one, I don't remember the name, but it was a movie where they were like a baseball team from Russia that was coming to America to train to become better at it. I don't remember what movie was that.
I've never heard that one, but that is. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
But if we can do it the other way around,
that
could be something good with handball.
JD, how about you?
The obvious one that obviously comes to my mind is dodgeball. That's not even fair. So that's not a fair one. We actually tried to do that my sophomore year of college. One of our buddies was a film major, so he was going to start coming to practice and making Handball the movie. Didn't pan out. But just thinking in my head, something like I'm trying to think of some other sports classics, but I think for the Cal Heat, maybe a little Remember the Titans action would be something of interest. I think you guys could probably pull it off in the San Francisco area. So a little high school bit rivalry and some grit going on down there. So
yeah, the other thing you can do, I don't know, you guys are from lacrosse, so you were there.
Yeah.
Do you know how lacrosse got into the American Pies movie?
American Pie?
Big story. I got a big story, JD. Okay. So the guy who wrote American Pie is from East Grand Rapids, Michigan. So that was during like the early 90s, right? And East Grand Rapids is a big lacrosse hotbed. So the guy who wrote the movie, it's like kind of about his life growing up there. So like Stifler playing lacrosse, like all those guys, like those were based on real people who are now like grown up, still live in Grand Rapids. And it's kind of funny because the guy who was Stifler in real life, his kids play lacrosse for a travel team that one of my buddies coaches. And it's a big secret that the guy is Stifler. And this guy found out and like, hey, what's up, Stifler? And he's like, he got all mad. But the other thing too is that coach, or sorry, the high school during the 90s, it was kind of like handball. It was kind of like what you guys have set up right now. Very loose. It relied on people who knew the sport, and the coach for that team of like the real American Pie team was my college lacrosse coach. So when he was like a young guy, like he was just helping out at the high school, and like he's I stayed with coaching, and now he's coaching at Hope College, the Flying Dutchman lacrosse team. So that's why I get really excited. That's and very roundabout way of saying that's how lacrosse got in American Pie.
There you go. I didn't think I would get an answer by that. That's awesome.
Oh boy, did you? Oh boy, did you?
Watching that movie was the first time I knew about lacrosse. I didn't know. I have no idea what that thing was. Yeah. So I think we need somebody like that for Handball. We need somebody to write a movie and put Handball in it.
I think so. Like for me, when I watch on Netflix the show Dark, I don't know if you guys are big Netflix guys, but Dark is a German show, kind of like on the Stranger Things line. I'd say a little bit of futuristic, not futuristic, but just kind of like science-y kind of crazy stuff. But they always have like meetings in the local high school gym, and in the background are handball goals. So I'm always like, look, they're there. But again, nobody would ever think twice, about it, what's going on. But to your point, Martin, I think if we could get just even a brief segment in a film, I'm trying to think like maybe like a James Bond movie or something that's going on in Europe that we can slide that in there just nonchalantly. I think it'd be cool. It would be, because you're probably right. I mean, that probably had a big impact for lacrosse. I'd like to go back and look. I know I didn't know about lacrosse till I was in middle school, and after that it was goodbye baseball. So it was a no-brainer for me. But
I think too it's a similar deal where like it's a matter of like if somebody sees that, it piques their curiosity, and like, they see that it's a real sport, And at times, and I'm sure, Martin, it's felt this way for you, when you're in these gyms and there's like 10 kids that come, one of them's your son or your brother or whatever. It's like, wow, like what am I doing here? And it's tough to convince those kids that like, yes, this is one of the most popular and fun and cool sports in the world. So to see it in like a movie like that would be helpful.
Yeah. No, if they see it on TV, for sure, and if they see it in a movie, they're going to recognize it. But what happened usually, so there's two anecdotes that I can use. That so whenever we actually start playing these league games with the kids, and we play outside, usually what happens is that there are other sports being played at the school. Like the softball team is playing like 2 courts down and stuff like that. And the parents, when they come around after the games and see us playing, you usually get somebody saying, "Oh, look, I played this when I was in middle school. I wish we had this when I was there." So there's a lot of people saying they know the sport already and they've seen it and they wish they will have the chance to play it. So it's not like they're not going to like it. They're going to actually play it. And the other thing is that one of the things that I do to recruit for the following year and for the beginning of the year as well is that when on the middle school, they do at the beginning of the year, they do this welcome event for all the 6th graders.
Okay.
And so they have all the new kids coming into the school all together. They have hot dogs and they do some games. But you have also all the 8th graders there to help out and welcome them there. So I usually go there with a Handball. I welcome everybody. I talk with people, and then I go to the shin where the kids are just playing basketball, and then I go with a Handball, and I start playing with them. I'm just encouraging to shoot the ball. So I tease them. I say, "Oh, get rid of that basketball. Use this one and shoot to the wall. Shoot to the wall. This is more fun than that." and stuff like that. And then when I get some of the kids that play with me and that are there, I tell them, okay, come, let's go here. Let's take this out of the shim. Let's set up again. You go into the against the wall. That's gonna be the goal. Let's play again. And I just get them playing there. And then once a couple of games, I tell them, okay, remember to sign up for the tryouts. It's gonna be next week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get them hooked, because once they start playing it and they see how fun it can be, they like it.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome.
I want to ask you guys before we move on from the movie thing. What have you ever seen the movie that's about the New York City team? And if you did, what's your thoughts on it?
The documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think it was a great idea that they did, and of course it played out because they won the championship. But I think we need more people that knows how to do movies, know how to edit video, to actually start using Handball material. Because there's a lot of material. I don't remember who was. I think Sean Ryan was saying that there's a lot of, or maybe it was Shady. I don't remember who was saying it, but there's a lot of stories that could be.
Yeah, John and I both talked about it, I think so.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of material from Handball that you can use for documentaries that is just out there. You just need somebody to get interested in and use it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the craziest one still to me is that was the Bangladesh, a team from Bangladesh that disappeared. Like, that's just wild. But here in America, there's still plenty of stories.
If you're interested in people disappearing in Handball, just follow the Cuban teams everywhere.
Oh, that's very true. They're always like, "Oh, wait, weren't you on Cuba's team, but now you're on Portugal?" Like, oh, that's odd. A little dual citizen action there. So, Joe, you got any other movie questions there with that? Because I'm ready for.
No, it's
okay. I'm ready for. So Martin, if you guys didn't hear at the beginning, Martin used to work at EA. It's in the game. Still working at EA. Martin's a big time developer for The Sims. You actually have your own Sims character, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, that's so cool.
When you know you made it right there.
Yeah.
So American dream.
Yeah. So my question.
Actually, I don't know if you can see it, but so here is how a few.
I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna make your
right
picture bigger just for this moment. So that give me 5 seconds so I can make your camera bigger so everybody can see. I'm gonna ignore everybody else here. So hold on. So there it is. Is that the PC Gamer magazine right there?
Yeah, with the cover with the Sims, and then the disc when we launched the game.
That's so cool. That is so cool, man. So, anyways, my question with that is, as you guys saw, Martin's like absolutely stunning bookshelf and wall of just epicness there. What would it take to get Handball into The Sims as our subtle? If it's not already, maybe it's already there. Maybe you've already subliminally stuffed it in there.
I try a lot, but no, it's not there. Yeah.
All right, and I know. Go ahead.
So the thing is that The Sims actually don't have like real sports. It's just like activities that one or two people can do together. So to have a full game is going to be impossible.
Okay.
Like they don't have that for soccer either. So
gotcha.
It's not going to happen.
So The Sims is not an option.
And the focus of The Sims is not about like sports.
Right.
I mean, that's just like a condiment.
Yeah. If we could get a guy with a ball, or jumping around with it, because I know there's different like random activities, like you said, that you have the characters do and things like that. But I'm just curious.
Actually, we like on one of the last packs that we did, the university expansion. There's some guys juggling a soccer ball. And I was horrified when I saw the animation for the juggling the soccer ball, but it was more fun than actual juggling.
And I know you and I have talked about this offline of the show, but the possibility of a remake of the Handball 17 game, I know EA probably has no interest in picking that up, but
Yeah.
what would go behind, the development of something like that? Because, there was a Handball 16 or Handball 15, but there hasn't been a game since Handball 17. So I was just wondering if you got any inside scoop on something like that, or what all goes into that process, because I have nothing about making a video game. So
yeah, so if there's not a game after the 17, there's probably a reason for it, and that's why there's not
it's a sad
another
truth.
game. But I don't have any insight into that company that created it. But if you can see, it's really hard to make a simulation of human movement, especially with Handball. Handball is really fast. It's really fast, and there's a lot of movements that you need to coordinate.
Mm-hmm.
If you play any basketball games, you don't coordinate everything that the player does. And basketball is a lot of like one player doing a lot of stuff. So Handball is really hard because it's not like you're just passing the ball. You're actually jumping in different ways, and you want to control how that jump goes, which direction it goes, how the arm shoots from where it shoots. There's a lot of things that you need to control, and it's really hard to do it on the speed that you play Handball in a video game. And if you see, like for example, a game like FIFA, which is a soccer game, they don't go even as fast as Handball goes, but still there's a lot of movement. And even on the latest edition, you still have not a smooth transition between one move and when the player changes direction or decides to do some trick with the ball. There's not a smooth transition because you still need to have the reaction time between you changing something on the control and the game reacting to it at the same time, because you don't want a reaction on the player on the screen a few seconds after you did something on the control. So it's really hard to get that timing right and that transition between different movements.
And
and like creating a video game of that quality takes a lot of time, a lot of people. So
I believe it.
I don't see it happen.
Okay, good. Just for our viewers out there, we're not confident that Handball 17 is going to get a remake, but the other aspect to it that drives me nuts for Handball, when I own a Handball 17, I play it every now and then, is the goalie, and that's something that FIFA I always get blown away with, and like NHL and stuff like that. It's like the programming on the goalie, like how do you control what's going to be a goal, what's not going to be a goal, and in Handball 17, it's a total crapshoot. If you shoot from half court with a certain shot, it's going in every time. It's a little glitch in the game that we found. So it's very, it's very frustrating. So you can't control the goalie. So you just hope for the best that he does his job. So
yeah, what happened there is that the goalie is a total different set of controls. So you need probably a player just controlling the goalie.
And it wasn't until I think like FIFA 16 or 17 that they started to allow you to switch to play as the goalie, which I feel like is a total disaster because you're just you're not gonna want to sit back there the whole game and just wait all right, bring the ball back down to me.
You know what? I have a little story about the latest FIFA. They released this new mode which is called Volta, which is like futsal, basically. And they create different pitches from different parts of the world. And if you go to play in Germany, the court is a Handball court.
Hey,
there's a nice spin.
It's actually it was on purpose because one of the producers on FIFA is a friend of mine. He's also from Argentina, and he actually plays Handball in Vancouver.
Oh,
he's a goalie over there. So when they were looking for courts to put in the game, he actually sent them the Handball court from Germany. He actually picked that one specifically.
That's awesome.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So Martin, you might not know, but Joey and I are big futsal fans. Mostly because of the connection between handball and futsal in regards to the court and just I don't know, the speed of the game. What's the futsal scene like in the Bay Area?
I know they're close. I've never been to a game, but they usually play on basketball courts.
Okay.
So But I know like the futsal national team on the women's side trains here because one of the coaches lives here in San Jose.
Gotcha.
And I remember like a couple of years ago they won the futsal world championship.
Oh, awesome. All right, so you got a lot of pretty high quality of futsal out there, so it's good to know.
And I think the president of the federation also lives here in the Bay Area.
Wow.
Interesting.
Dang. You got to hit that guy up, man.
Yeah, Joey and
I did. That's the problem. I did already, and he's like really busy. He's not.
It's like this guy again. Handball guy's back. Yeah, Joey and I have been trying to tap into the futsal market because you know the relations between the two sports, and they're very friendly. I mean, we've played at halftime of the Columbus game, and Lansing near Joey has a pretty actually nice facility. They have a whole light show and what's it, like fireworks when you come out to the game and everything.
They got like a DJ stand. It's like the floor is like an actual futsal floor. Like
that's excellent.
It's all for futsal. It's crazy.
On one of our middle school games, we have actually the cheerleader from the school at the halftime. So
wow.
Yes. I've been trying to get. We were going to have Brutus at the college national championships this year, and I know UNC does a great job of having Ramsey the Ram at their
nice.
event. So it's nice to have. It adds to that level of legitimacy. Like you guys have, somebody from the Spirit Squad here. Like this means something. So it's really cool.
It's stuff like that'll keep it real for people and get them motivated to like play and to really I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome. Joey, you got any more questions for Martin? Because I think we covered the spread here, and we got 3 minutes left on our Zoom call, so I think we're doing pretty well time wise.
Martin, between me and JD, which one's your favorite?
For what? It depends for what.
I'm glad there's it's going both ways. So
he's put some thought into it.
Yeah, he knows.
Nah, I'm just teasing. No, you guys are doing a good job. I think we need more shows like this. I always told Sean Ryan when he was the only one doing a podcast, I was telling him we need more like this. We need more people.
You tell John.
No, and he knows, but he was the only one. So and I'm glad like Vinny started with his thing, and what you guys doing is great.
Yeah,
so we got some problems.
Beanie. We got beef. Yeah, we got beef with Beanie.
Okay. But
I mean, you know what you need to do? Just get him in this show, and then you can clear everything up.
He has to change his name first.
Yeah,
we refuse.
We do not.
Crossover. You should do it.
So it's good. Well, it'll be interesting. It's just to your point, like the more people talking about it. I'm not saying to fake it till we make it kind of thing, but it just kind of adds to the fact that there's conversation going on that people can publicly see.
But you know what happened? Like just with you guys talking with somebody or the show that Vinny did, I get to know those people better because the only time that I see those people or had the chance to talk to them is at nationals.
Yeah.
But in a conversation like this, they can talk a lot more about what handball means to them, what they did to handball, and you get to know them better this way.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Thank you. That's good to hear. We're not bringing in the star-studded cast that Benny's bringing in, but we're
bringing in a better cast like you. Yeah. You're better than everyone on that podcast.
We need to bring everybody.
Yeah,
everybody's good. Yeah,
very true.
Cool. Well, Martin, thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
One thing, guys. I would like to see more women in your show.
All right, we got to meet some women first. That's problem number one. I have my wife, so I'm pretty limited, but I think we can.
There are a lot of women in handball.
Yes, we will. It's on the notes for next week.
Okay.
A woman. All right.
I like that, Martin. Thank you.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Well, shooters, it's been wild. It's been real. We want to say thank you to Martin, and as always, keep shooting. All right. Until next time, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
Martin, I got a little slideshow here with the technical difficulties seen as we talked about. It's got your tagline and Cal Heat's tag for people that are interested in finding more information about you. And then I got our normal close